made the cutoff before the actual date. If you went from
It was the 4
election.
weeks from November, 14 weeks,
Yeah,
whatever.
yeah, something like that. It didn't match
And
with
did they
what they
post
did.
that somewhere or something though? That's what started all, because you said I can still turn it in because you had it posted that.
Yeah, but the county had it posted correctly, the city had it
city
posted
didn't.
incorrectly. And then Dan had a good point, I think. He said, well, there are more than 7.
They're supposed to be.
And you're supposed to be on the primary.
I mean, that's what Cal was talking to me before the meeting. She was saying,
If I
this is
remember right.
bizarre. Like, there's
Yeah.
some bizarre stuff going on. Like, the city passed an ordinance right before that.
But the thing is, though, I remember that, okay, Brenda Hess had moved, and she just had not moved in time to pull her name off of the ballot. So I almost
she was
wonder
on
if
that.
that's, but she didn't live in the city anymore, so she technically
She never moved.
disqualified.
She was going to, and the deal fell through.
Yeah, but then there was another one. I
That's
thought
part
that-
of the story. The whole Brenda Hess story. So she was asking about that, and I said,
Yeah.
I said, go back and watch the very first meeting when we got elected, after we got elected, and you can see how we felt about Brenda Hess being, because I had legitimate questions that they wouldn't answer. They
Right.
wouldn't tell us. It's just weird. There's something
Oh, well, now I'm gonna start.
weird
looking.
going on back to 18. And I was trying to think, because I was telling Kayla, I was like, no, somebody was like, turned in their nominating petition, and they said, no, it's too late. And they were like, and I said, I think it was Cameron.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
Cameron.
Yeah, it's weird. I mean, if you saw the attorney's memo, that's one of the issues they're looking at right now, is the fact that they passed this weird ordinance about when the nominating petitions have to be turned in.
I didn't see that. Where did that come out?
It was part of the packet.
It was in, is it in the packet? It was an email before the packet.
It was the legal,
Yeah.
those
it was
legal
before the
memos.
packet.
Yeah.
From who?
Welcome back. It was from Heather.
Oh, okay, so,
And it was just what they're working on right now, but one of them was elections, and that's what they're talking
What's up, my
about.
dude? Yeah. How are you?
Well.
It's just
Good.
weird. Just,
come back and correct me from the record. That's 3.5 years.
That's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work. Although he hasn't said much in the last 6 months, so it wouldn't be as bad.
I mean, historically, he doesn't say much anyway. Normally, he's.
I feel like I missed something good.
So we were discussing,
Watch
they
your-
had to,
You're what? Oh, the email from earlier? I gotcha.
How's it going? Good.
No Tim tonight. How's it going? What do we got here?
trying
Good
to
group.
find that.
Yeah, I spaced it. I mean, I kind of figured we were all on the same page that, yeah, he's excused.
Okay.
I missed it being on the, well, normally I have to send me the agenda before they send it out. And Cal did this way, you could just kind of put it out.
Makes sense to me.
Cool.
Oh, wait.
I was listening when I was doing the minutes for this. I was listening and I'm like, you could just hear my voice just going a little bit more.
You know what
By the end of the meeting.
Instead of trying to share like this, but moving forward, I think I'd like to see
Yeah,
a
it's
recommendation.
weird. I was gonna ask you what was right.
So we can understand.
Maybe I should call her.
Well, you know, I feel like having one, maybe she could
You
check that
don't
one.
get that.
Yeah, I think so.
Didn't you, at the last meeting, didn't you say you still like to print it out?
With exactly what you're saying. I
Okay.
agree.
Okay.
I don't mind it.
I don't mind this, I don't mind.
No, I do like it.
It helps when you get a lot of information and you're trying to
I thought
remember
you said you liked having
where
it
you're
printed
at
out
and how
because
you
you
like.
like.
It doesn't mean
Do
you
it
have to.
right, how to say it's
But
the right way.
recommendation, just give me a little
Yeah.
minutia there, so that I can
Something to chew
understand why,
weird.
yeah, why do you want to recommend it?
You know what it was? At the planning commission, Ralph asked
Like
for,
it. Why are you passionate?
Or
Ralph
like,
likes to flip
or
through
why
it too,
don't
and so she does
yeah,
that for Ralph.
potentially planning commission, we need to put it on there so that we
Okay, you guys ready?
can see. All right.
Ready?
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's do it. Yeah.
Yep.
Ready?
Ready.
Okey dokey. Good evening, and welcome to the regular meeting of the Buchanan City Commission for Monday, February 28th. It is 7 p.m. I'd like to call the meeting to order. We don't have any recognitions tonight. Will you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Roll call, please.
Dennison,
Here.
Whedon,
Here?
Downey,
Here.
Money,
Present.
Swem.
Here.
You have quorum.
Thank you. I would accept a motion to approve the agenda.
Sean, I'll make said motion.
Thank you. Is there support?
This is money I'll support.
Thank you. Can I roll call, please?
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
carries.
Thank you. At this time, I'd like to open up the meeting for public comment on agenda items only, please. If you'd like to make a public comment, please make your way to the podium. State your name for the minutes. Anyone wishing to make a public comment? Nope, nope.
Norma looks like she wants to, but she's not pulled the trigger.
Going once, going twice. Okay, seeing none, let's move on to the consent agenda. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda, please?
I'll motion to approve the consent agenda.
Can you do that one? Sorry.
I move to approve the consent agenda as presented, including paying the February 28, 2022 bills in the amount of $300,459.18.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Have roll call, please.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
carries.
Thank you. Moving on to scheduled matters from the floor. We have a presentation on our audit. Would you like to?
So I'd like to introduce you this evening to Alex Schaefer. He's from the firm of Krugel Lawton. They performed our audit for this past fiscal year, and they will be going over their presentation. It'll be relatively brief, but they'll hit on some high-level events from our general fund activities as well as some of our other activities as well throughout the governmental enterprise funds. Thank you.
Alex, the floor is yours. Yes, sir. Thank you.
You give an accountant a microphone, I'm up here all night. Let me, one sec.
Sorry.
I'm sorry. My name's Alex Schaefer, and I'm the partner in charge who's responsible for signing the report for the city. And I just want to thank you on behalf of my firm for hiring us to do your audit. We're really excited, and I'm going to just walk through some of the highlights of the audit. the bound pages that you guys have, pages 1 and 2. You'll see my firm's letterhead on there. It's the Independent Audit Report. This is what you hire a CPA like myself to do and to present. Is we basically go through the statements and present them in material gap form, and then we give our opinion on it. The rest of the statements are actually the city's. So if you look at the first heading, manager's responsibility is your responsibility as management. Auditor's responsibility is my responsibility. My firm's responsibility is independent auditors. The opinion is the opinion that we opined on the statements. And then on the next page, required supplemental information under, in the state of Michigan, they require cities to be under GASB, and there's some certain requirements that we have to present, or the city has to present under GASB, which is Governmental Auditing Standards. Other information, there's some nice supporting schedules of the non-major funds to show the user how did some of these groupings happen. So as of February 14th, so Valentine's Day, we issued an unmodified opinion. We hear unmodified and we say, Alex, what is that? All that really means is that the financial statements are gap form, they're materially correct, and anyone should be able to pick up the statements and rely on them. They have all the required disclosures that we're required to present on. Pages 3 through 6, I'm not going to go through these pages. I just want to tell you what they are, just in case if a citizen or someone wants to look at the city's financial statements. This is the MD&A. This is written by management. It's a great section to go to because it's more narrative. You know, I like numbers. I'm an accountant. But when you want to know more what happened and when you just want to read about the city, this is a great section to go to. Now, the one page I am going to talk about is on page 11. And this is your, this is the city's income statement. On the fund basis of accounting, this is your budgetary accounting. This is what the state's going to measure, or someone outside is going to measure the city's health. Now, I'm only going to talk about the operational fund or the general fund. So if you look down to revenues, revenues for the year were $2,688,000. The weird thing about governmental accounting, they don't show comparative, but I wrote down some comparative numbers. They actually increased by $324,000 or 12%. And you say, Alex, what's the major changes between the 2 years? Property taxes ended up at $1,338,000. That's about 49% of your revenue. That increased by $104,000. There's a new line item called federal grants. Last year, or 2 years ago in 2020, there was no federal grants in the general fund. Last year, there was $76,000. Those were the COVID-19 grants. And then the state shared revenue was the other big increase of revenues. That ended up at $846,000, which represents about 31% of the revenue for the city and the general fund. That increased by $171,000. The major reason why that increased is 2 years ago the revenue went down because of COVID for the state shared revenue, but also City of Buchanan participates in the marijuana state payments, which was about $84,000 received in 2021. Expenditures for the year were $2,674,000. That increased about 19%, or about $425,000. The majority of those increases were different functions, and the general, the cash of general government. Those were mainly from changes of staffing, and also some building and grounds expenses were higher this year compared to the previous years. That could be due to COVID. So we have your excess revenues or expenditures before financing sources and uses of a positive inflow of $14,000. The other financing sources and uses came in. That's your transfers in and out of your funds, and also there were some small capital assets that were sold. So that came into a $36,000 excess. And if I combine those two, we're at about $49,000 of an increase of fund equity. Now you say, oh, this is great. You're telling me all this stuff. What does this really mean? If I bury that into your beginning fund equity in the general fund, it increased by 2.44%. Now you say, Alex, what does that mean? We're at $2,074,000. Compare that to $2 million to your operating expenses, and you're about 77% of your operating expenses built up, or 9.3 months. Pretend that the world's ending and you don't get any more inflows in the general fund. The general fund in an accounting world would be supported by 9.3 months of operations. Some other highlights of the audit: the water and sewer fund had capital additions of $6.9 million for improvements for the waste treatment plant. That's also spending down some of those bonds that you received in the year before. The water and sewer fund also made total debt payments of $380,000. The audit, just to highlight, the audit is done much later than it normally is. The reason why is there was a change in the accounting software which pushed the audit back. There was some, the accounting software, when they did the change, it got locked, so you couldn't go back and really close your fiscal year. So there's a lot of effort from outside consultants and city management on that. So next year, we're expecting this audit, which is next year is going to be in a couple months. We expect to have this audit done timely within like September, October. But during this lockdown, there was a lot of, just a lot of consulting work that had to be done to catch up the bank recs, because when the computer system got locked down, some of the accounting processes got a little delayed, and that pushed the audit, which is actually, the audit is late, but it's now submitted to the state of Michigan. Some expectations going forward. I left my business card for the board. During the year, if you have any questions, give me a call, because you guys hire us, and we feel that we should be talking to you throughout the year. Obviously, I do like to talk. I expect management to call us. I know that after the audit, we have a meeting with the USDA to talk about with management about with the new loan you guys are applying for. They want a separate information where it's like actually, here's your sewer and here's your water. So we have to implement that, or the city does. These are your financial statements, not mine. That's just some of the stuff we're working on. Normally I go over more detail, but it was just because of your year ends June 30th. It was a good year, but that year is gone. So let's focus on the future. So I just wanted to introduce myself and give you my business card. If any of you have any questions, give me a call, but we're always available. We don't just charge a charge. Like I will tell you, that's a project you're gonna need. But if you're like, hey Alex, what does this do for accounting? I'd rather tell you now than be the auditor and be like, oh, here's a material weakness for adjusted journal entries or something. I'd rather talk throughout the year. So that's all I got to talk about. Unbelievably, but I do like to talk. So, any questions?
Do you have any questions? I don't have any.
I think I'll just have some more when we get ready to start working on our next budget. So let me go through some more of this, but thank you. I really
Feel free to call
appreciate
us
it.
anytime. And on behalf of the firm, thanks a lot. We really appreciate the work, and we're excited to be working with you guys.
All right, thank
Thank
you,
you.
Alex, we
Thank you,
appreciate it.
Alex.
Thanks, Alex.
I'm going out this way. Take care.
And if I may just comment real briefly, the percentage he referred to of roughly 77% of our expenditures being set aside, that's one of the fiscal health indicators that a lot of different groups point to for municipalities. Generally, they're recommending, it varies who you ask, but a minimum of about a third of a year of expenditures is what I've heard. 50% for a smaller community because we're less able, we have less, obviously, a size budget to handle big changes. So a 50% mark is recommended for medium to small size communities from what I've heard. We're at 77%, so we're a very fiscally healthy community in that regard. We do want to make sure that we're addressing debt and paying down debt when we can. We obviously are acquiring some new debt for water and sewer infrastructure projects coming up. So it's very likely that we'll be setting aside some of those funds, or committing them is the term that's often used. So next year that percentage level will probably be markedly down, but that doesn't mean that those funds are gone, just that we're committing them. So that's part of our budget planning process that we'll discuss in the coming months. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you, Alex.
Thank you, Alex. Okay. With no questions, would someone like to make a motion to accept the audit as presented?
I'll make a motion to accept the audit as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
This is Money, I'll support.
Thank you. Can we have roll call, please?
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downing.
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. Okay, now we're going to move on to reports by departments, committees, boards. And up first is Mr. Murphy with the Community Development Report.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, members of the public. Rich Murphy, Community Development Director. Asking for action on 3 items this evening. The first 2 pertain to the Michigan Liquor Control Commission. And typically when a licensee sends an application, and certain applications require the local unit of government to give their kind of blessing or approval, provided there's no outstanding issues or concerns on the licensee. So that's what these first 2 are for Buchanan Craft LLC. You may know them as doing business as another entity, but I don't want to steal their thunder or their message. But they are asking for approval for item A, which is or number 1, approval of an off-premises tasting room, and secondly, for the social district permit approval. I think we've done a few of these before. Basically, we need a motion and a second, and then an approval by the board, by the commission. From there, we fill out each application, and the licensee accompanies that approval with their application that they send to the Liquor Commission. So Brian Doherty and his team are here this evening. I don't know if they want to share any more than that, or if you're okay, great. Thank you.
As Rich says, my name is Brian Doherty, and I'm one of the 2 LLC managers for Buchanan Craft LLC, which is the operating entity that runs River St. Joe, which is in Buchanan Township. let me say in advance, thank you so much for your time today. Heather, I have a very short presentation. Do you mind if I approach the
That's
commissioners and
Totally
hand
up
it
to
out?
the mayor.
Thank you.
So I'd like to start by just saying that we are incredibly excited, the team, some of whom are here today, to be expanding from Buchanan Township down into the city of Buchanan. And as Mr. Murphy said, we're specifically seeking to open up a cidery and restaurant at the 101, 103 Days Avenue space. As you'll see from the first and second pages of the slide, our plan is to be a cidery serving hard cider, wine, and mead, which is a type of honey wine, as well as a variety of non-alcoholic beverages. Our food offering, which our executive chef, Tony Hauser, is still sort of figuring through, is going to be really casual, reasonably priced, and use locally sourced ingredients, mostly from Marion County, as many as we can from Flatwater Farms just up the road. The main objective is to make this a really quick lunch takeout place and sort of a casual lunch and dinner sit-down location. In addition to that, we're planning a small music venue on site, but the main objective is really to develop a community gathering space in the downtown area. As much as I can say right now, our best estimates are between 15 and 25 employees at this location. If you could take a look at the third slide, we do want to speak just quickly about what attracted us to this project, particularly since we're just a mile up the road. We've really taken notice of some of the city initiatives that have gone on, and we read and were really persuaded by the citizen survey. I think half of the respondents really asked for additional food downtown, and we saw that. We noticed, to some people's dismay, a significant uptick in traffic in the area, which drew us. We were attracted by, frankly, the group who will be our landlords has done an incredible job selling us on this fantastic vision for the corner of Front Street and Days Avenue. The signage grant, the restaurant initiative, the planned involvement in the Michigan Main Street, and then also the social district license were big draws to us, things that we really didn't want to miss out on. And lastly, the calendar for the Buchanan Commons is amazing. We really want to be down there to serve those folks. And as you can see from the fourth slide, and Mr. Murphy mentioned these, the two things we're seeking your approval on are the off-premise small winemaker's license, which we are required first to get from you before we go to the MLCC to ask for permission, and then also your approval to allow us to apply to the MLCC to be involved in the social district. The final slide, which we just included today, is something fun. As part of our research for this space, we went and sort of dug up some historical images of 101, 103 Days Avenue, and we really hope that we can be the next installment in those images you see before you. So again, thank you so much for your time. I'm of course open to any questions you have.
Do we have any questions for Brian? Thank you, Brian.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Someone like to make a motion?
This is Money. I'll move that the application from the Buchanan Craft LLC for a new off-premise tasting room license to be located at 101 and 103 Days Avenue, Buchanan, Michigan, is recommended by this body for consideration for approval by the Michigan Liquor Control Commission.
There's support?
Is we no support?
Can we roll call, please?
Swam,
Yes.
Tennyson,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money.
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you very much. Moving down to the next one, would someone like to make a motion on that one also?
I move to approve the Buchanan Craft LLC local unit of government approval for opting into the City of Buchanan Social District as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Thank you. May I roll call, please?
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem.
Yes.
Approved.
Mayor, if I may just briefly interject, I just want to share with the community members who are here who maybe haven't been in our past meetings, but I think our city commissioners deserve some credit for this wonderful business coming to our community. As was mentioned by Mr. Doherty, a lot of the incentives, in fact, all of the incentives that were mentioned were developed by this commission in the past year and a half, and I think it's already making wonderful changes in our community, and I want to applaud the commission for their efforts to do that and focus on economic development. So thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. It's good to hear that it's working,
Yeah.
and we can't wait until you're open.
Up and running.
We're all hungry.
When's the first concert at the
Sooner the
Common?
better.
Yes.
Yeah.
The snow's melting, so.
Good luck, and thank you very much.
Thank you.
Sorry,
Mr. Murphy?
Can't stop smiling. I mean, this is huge. You know, when a obsolete video store comes back as a cidery restaurant, historic rehabilitated building on ground zero in your historic downtown, it's a good day. And this is the type of project that will cause revitalization to happen down the block, across the street, in the neighborhoods. The level of caliber of investment of who is doing business in River St. Joe now comes to our downtown. I mean, this is a big deal. And thank you for taking this leap of faith, both property owners and business people, because this is a game changer for Buchanan. And I can't wait to see it all happen. And it's exciting. So, thank you.
Thank you.
My third item is Rhett's back. And I'll just a brief history. Rhett Johnson, his partner Sam Vahida. They run Blackboard LLC and Alcorn Valley LLC. They were approved back in September for a grow facility at the complex that they purchased, 402 to 404 South Oak Street. They went through the special use process. You guys then approved their adult use license. Then they came back because they wanted to actually do processing. So last month they came to the Plan Commission and got approval for a processing permit. Now that permit is in front of you for your approval. Since September, since they got their approval, they have not stopped working on full construction right now. I believe they've been on site every single day since then, working on their project. This complex, again, vacant for many years, is now going to have 15 to 20 new jobs, several $100,000 of investment, and you know, a corridor coming back to life that was vacant for a long time in Buchanan. So a lot of these people are younger entrepreneurs coming into this industry, so it's exciting. They're buying houses, they're buying real estate, they're patronizing the businesses. So the application is before you. I find it to be in good order. My recommendation is for approval of the adult use processing license. Mr. Johnson's here. If he wants to say a few words or give anyone an update, you're welcome, or if you guys have any questions for him.
May I?
Sure.
I didn't prepare any wonderful speeches for you this evening at all, but I did want to say everything that he said is correct. We have been here every day, and I really do just want to double down on my investment here in Buchanan. I'm happy to be here. I want to continue to be here, and I'd really like the opportunity to be able to see my product all the way from the start to the finish, and that's what this would be doing for me, and I'd appreciate it.
Anybody have any questions for him? Nope. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Anybody like to make a motion on that one?
I'll move to approve the adult use marijuana process facility application for 402 to 404 South Oak Street as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
Thank you. Can we have roll call, please?
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison.
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. And at this time, we'll have the treasurer's report.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, members of the public. Stephanie Powers, City Treasurer. Of the $300,459.18 that was approved in expenses this evening, $103,406.53 was from the general fund. Approximately $40,000 of that was work like the land title survey, design engineering, and analytical testing and consulting for the DPW project. Also, from the general fund, we're looking at $3,800. That was the Winter in Buchanan short film project that was very nice, very lovely, that people participated in. Also, $1,657.57 from major streets, $1,442.37 from local streets. We had $29,275.19 in expenditures from water sewer maintenance. Trust and agency was $405, and we did have tax disbursements, mostly winter and some summer, in $164,272.52. And I would like to pass out that some of the entities that we did disperse to was, of course, the City of Buchanan, also the District Library. We also dispersed to Marion County Treasurer, Brownfield Authority, Marion RESA, and also Lake Michigan College in this disbursement this time. I hope that you did get a chance to look at the Finance Department's City of Buchanan taxes that Courtney, the bookkeeper, put together for us. It's a start here, but we're really proud of the graph and hope that this gives you some information that you guys were looking for earlier in the season. And we, like I said, we have more information coming on the millages, so bear with us. We will get there as quickly as possible. I know the audit is complete. That has to be a really nice thing. And are there any questions this evening?
Have any questions?
Yeah. What do you mean, more information on the millages?
Well, we didn't have, Courtney was working on a little bit more information for this report for you guys, and I did see that we had a list of, in the past, there was a list that was going around that showed different millage rates, and we are trying to get our hands on the updated list for you guys also. We think that would go along with this quite nicely. So we do have a little bit more work that we're doing on this report that will provide more information.
Essentially, we're trying to get the historical documents
Yeah.
that back up the tax millages for the other collecting entities. So as the main tax collector, most of the taxes you pay to the City of Buchanan when you write the check to us don't stay here. That we actually have to distribute them on to the county, to the library, to other taxing entities such as Lake Michigan College, as mentioned, RESA, which is the special education school district, the school district itself. So we're going to be breaking down and finding out when those millages come back up. For instance, we learned today, Lake Michigan College, it looks like we'll likely be back on the election ballot for consideration of renewal of their millage in November of 2026. Their last millage was before the taxpayers of Marion County in November of 2016 for a 10-year millage. So, but that's the type of information we're still trying to gather. But it's difficult because we have to get them from the other entities themselves. So we're still working on that.
And when we're done with that, that'll be something we'll be able to have publicly posted as a
Absolutely.
resource.
We'll be putting that on
Perfect.
our website, sharing it out on social media, and having printouts available up at the front, and making some really nice visuals so that when taxpayers come in, we can have some boards explaining that. Because it is a very, taxation in Michigan is actually one of the most complex states in the country for how we handle taxation, especially at the municipal level. So it is very complicated.
Any
Yeah, I'm curious as to, still have the consultant coming every week, is that correct? Do we have an estimated time of, that we want?
Yes, I have a meeting tomorrow with them
Okay.
to finalize that. We're thinking it's probably gonna be at least a few more weeks before we're fully caught up, because we got through the audit time
Right.
period, but now we wanna make sure we're caught to current date.
Right.
So once we're caught to current date, we should be good to roll.
Okay,
So I'll be able to update the commission after my meeting tomorrow.
wonderful, thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, any other questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Stephanie.
All right, down to item 10, unfinished business. We don't have any, so we're going to move on to new business. And item A is the introduction and first reading of ordinance 2022.02/428, ordinance for land development policy.
And if I may briefly just explain, so it's a complicated process not only for taxation for Michigan municipalities, but also for legislation. So our governing body in the form of the city commission is the legislative body for the city of Buchanan that passes all ordinances. We're required by our charter to do both a first reading and a second reading. So what that means is if it's approved at first reading, really what the commission is saying is we're putting this out there on the radar for the public to be aware that we're having a discussion about potentially passing this ordinance. It's not passed until it's passed by a majority vote of the city commission at second reading. So if it passes tonight, it's essentially an indication that they want to have a public dialogue about this ordinance. We do have copies of it available on the city website and also printed copies available on that table over there. And if anyone has questions, I'm happy to follow up with you. Thank you. So for this first one, it is for regulation of land development policy for city-owned properties. We're looking to try to develop a mechanism by which we're equitably and in actually a very strategic manner trying to find out which properties currently owned by the city of Buchanan the city itself does not have a plan or strategy for using. And then if that's the case, then putting those properties out for development. So essentially marketing those properties to developers, trying to get the most bang for our buck for our taxpayers, but also more than just looking at how much will people pay for a property, what is their plan for development for the property, and trying to find the highest and best use for that particular parcel being considered, and making sure that there's actually teeth to any agreement that we come to with developers so that we're not looking at a false promise that leads the taxpayers to disappointment later on. So that's what this policy is attempting to accomplish, if passed.
We'll just move on to the next one.
Well, it has, if you guys want it to be approved for first reading, you have to vote for it to be
Okay,
approved
I'm
for
sorry.
first reading. That's all right.
Someone would like to make a motion?
I move to approve the first reading of ordinance number 2022.02/428 for the regulation of land development policy for city-owned properties.
Thank you. Is there support?
This is money I'll support.
A roll call, please.
Tennyson,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem.
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to B, introduction and first reading of ordinance 2022.02/429, food truck ordinance.
So similarly, if passed tonight, this first reading does not make this ordinance law. It just puts it out there for public notice that's being considered at a second reading. If passed at second reading, will become law. The ordinance itself regulates food trucks, other food vendors like hot dog carts and things of that nature.
Anybody have any questions? If there's no questions, would someone like to make a motion, please?
I'll move to approve the first reading of ordinance 2022.02/429 for the regulation of food trucks and food vendors as presented.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
A roll call, please.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Tennyson.
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to move on to communications.
So in your packets, there's a Marion County Trail Master Plan informational guide. I was requested by the planning commissioner for Marion County to share this with the city commission and engage in a dialogue to see if the city commission wants to become more involved, especially with their knowledge that we recently updated our 5-year recreation plan to include an emphasis on trails, and also they're cognizant of the fact that we were recently awarded, which we'll discuss more later, a substantial grant for a trail expansion going towards the Flatwater Farms and River St. Joe area in Buchanan Township. So that's something that they wanted to engage in with us more, both from a monetary standpoint and from just a time and actual physical dialogue process. So I'm hoping, unless anyone's against it, that I will be granted permission to get more actively involved in that particular process. I would like to try to be an advocate for the city of Buchanan in the trails planning level at the county commission level and their county planning commission level as well. And additionally, I'll be bringing back to our next meeting a request to pay to be a participant and contributor towards their planning process after I find out more from some personal dialogue.
Great.
Okay. Do you want to talk about the next item?
Certainly. So this is not a request for a first reading. It is a request to have it placed on the agenda for a first reading. And the reason I'm putting it out there is not that the commission has to approve that. It's on there if you guys want to, so vote. It's not required. But really because this one is more of a controversial, as you were, ordinance than the other two. Not necessarily controversial per se, but some folks are going to need more time to digest it because it's quite lengthy. And it affects everyone in the realm of blight remediation and property maintenance and upkeep. So it's going to affect everyone in the city, so I want to make sure there's plenty of time for public input. So I want to make sure we're putting out there for public notice before it's even put up for first reading. So we're really going above and beyond in transparency and the hopeful input and collection of comments from our citizens. So if anyone wants to discuss this with city staff, I'm happy to sit down and answer questions anyone has. But we really want to get input from the folks who are our taxpayers and our community stakeholders on their thoughts on the proposed International Property Maintenance Code update for 2021 before it's considered for implementation, because we do have an opportunity to make modifications to that code that are specific for our locality if desired. Thank you.
Thank you. Someone like to make a motion to add that to the next agenda?
Sean will make a motion to approve adding the 2021 International Property Maintenance Code to be added to the next agenda for the City Commission.
Thank you. Is there support?
I'll support.
May I have roll call, please?
Downey,
Yes.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon.
Yes.
Carries.
Thank you. Okay, let's move on to public comment on non-agenda items only. If you'd like to make a public comment, please make your way to the podium and state your name for the minutes.
Norma Ferris, 304 North Oak. They're giving me a bad time back there. How are you coming with your ways to speak to the public? I'm speaking about Channel 17.
I can answer your questions about that after the meeting, or we can set up
Okay.
for tomorrow. I'd be glad to go over that with you, Norma.
Okay.
Anyone else wishing to make a public comment?
Don, did you have something? No. Oh, I seen you waving your
It's
hand.
just-
I'm going.
Just saying hi.
Not tonight? Okay. Okay, seeing no one, let's move on to executive comments. City Manager?
Sure. I'll start with addressing Channel 17 since it was mentioned. I've been, and probably some others in our community, frustrated with the lack of availability of a clear way to communicate through Channel 17. Comcast is required by law, through federal law under the FCC, to provide us with a government access channel called a PEG channel, for Public Education and Government Channel. They do provide funding to us for that, but when we have equipment that we purchase with that funding, but the equipment will not broadcast in high definition, which all TVs are now set to, unless they program it to do so. And we've been trying unsuccessfully for just over a year now to get them to do that. And every time we think we have a tech come out who's going to do it, it's a tech who comes out to try to install cable for us. And we're like, that's not at all what we need. However, I'm happy to report that we've made progress. Comcast needed something from us lately. And so I made sure to tell them, I am so happy to approve that for you as soon as you fix our PEG channel. So that should be getting approved relatively in short order, is my understanding. So hopefully we'll have that operational ASAP. On some other news, I know some community members had dealt with some water difficulties lately. We did have some water main breakages that affected a substantial number of our residents. I want to thank our Public Works crew, our water department and everyone who assisted from cemetery and our other departments to help remediate that, but also thank our residents for your patience. I know that's a very painful thing to have to go through when you have to boil your water just to drink it. And we do apologize for any inconvenience, but I want you all to know that that's a priority and why our commission is being proactive and looking to do these infrastructure projects in the future. So thank you everyone for your patience while we try to be proactive and address these concerns, and I hope everyone's having a great night. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Money.
You always pick on me first.
Yeah.
Well, once again, Mr. Doherty, it's a pleasure to see you working so diligently down there to bring life back into this city, and especially on that corner of Days Avenue and stuff. I'm quite sure for the old timers that are sitting in here, I shouldn't say old timers, but those of us who have been around this town for quite a while, I'm quite sure we won't see Louis' five hamburgers for $1 back there, but it's great to see that you're making a big contribution to the city of Buchanan by redeveloping that corner. It's been pretty run down for a good number of years, and I'm quite sure you're going to do a great job there, and I just wish you the best. Thanks once again for everybody for being here. I see Mike Baker's, he's on the mend, so we'll be back throwing rocks at him pretty soon. And once again, I want to thank this commission and this city staff for everything that they do. We've pushed ahead in the few short years that I've been here, and the other gentlemen that are up here. I think they're doing a great job as far as promoting Buchanan and making Buchanan a good place to live again. So with that being said, thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner
Yeah. I missed the last meeting, and I went on the website to see if there was anything available through the next couple of days, and I'm sure you're gonna tell me you're working on this stuff. But I noticed back before your arrival, we were missing some minutes to meetings and some videos, and what's the status on that?
So right now, actually, we're scanning in. We've lost from when we switched the other website to the new website. We were supposed to get the 10 years of minutes that were supposed to be transferred in.
Okay.
Right now, we are actually working on scanning those in by hand.
Okay.
We have, I think it was still 2008 are scanned in. So as soon as those actually all get scanned in, it's going to take me a minute to upload each one by one. So it is being worked on, because trust me, I utilize that all the time going back and searching. So that's something that we're getting there. But
Thank you.
yeah,
That's what I expected, yeah. Okay, and then a little history here. Back in 1991, I got married, and I was lucky enough to marry into a family related to the Weavers. And the past week, we've lost Clyde Weaver, maybe 2 weeks ago now, and he was always very pleasant, a great guy, a storyteller, and I enjoyed seeing him at the restaurant regularly. And he is a former police chief, retired from the city, and he's going to be missed. That's it.
Commissioner Slim?
I want to thank River St. Joe, Flatwater Farms, Brian, everybody involved. Really looking forward to the vibrancy you bring to downtown as another addition to our growing economic. I can't think of the word to say, but other than thank you. We're really looking forward to it. Excited to hear you're going to take advantage of the investment opportunities and incentives that we've put out there. Hopefully word gets out on those and we can continue to build on that momentum. So thank you. I think it's important to realize how important the ordinance that'll be on the next agenda regarding blight remediation is. It's been an ongoing topic of conversation from citizens since I've been here for the last year. That's been brought up. So we are listening. We're taking steps forward with it. It's an ordinance that'll come into play, hopefully after lots of dialogue, in an effort where we're working with the homeowners and business owners on how we can accomplish something, but putting things in place to start so we all know the rules and expectations. This is the first step in that matter. So looking forward to that dialogue. That's it.
Thank you. Mr. Whedon?
Awesome. First and foremost, thank you to the commission. I think the decisions we made, no matter how difficult, no matter how many things were thrown at us, we kept our head down and kept thinking of the city first, right? That's our number one responsibility, is the city, and to spend the taxpayers' money wisely, and have incentive programs. So Brian, thank you to you and your team for seeing the vision. If anybody has had a chance to get out to River St. Joe and Flatwater Farms, they know that this is not going to be a fly-by-night operation. This is going to be well done, and it's going to be beautiful. So I can't wait for that. Thank you. Please send our thanks to Blackbird and Elkhorn. I know that it's not something everybody will see, but it brings 25, somewhere in there, 25 jobs, right? We got 25 here, we got 25 here. I mean, that's 50 more people that are going to have a substantial interest in spending money in town and doing things to build and grow our city. And this commission has, and we've seen it at the beginning of our time, it was not the easiest. I think people were stuck in their ways, and we have, well, I can't say all, entirely different staff. And it's a welcome change. John, I think you can speak to it as well, and what's going on around the city, and things have not been any more difficult than they were before, I don't believe. I think communicated from you guys. I think adding the additional staff made a difference. And yeah, it's just great. It's great to see that these opportunities are being afforded to us because we made difficult decisions. So Rich, I think we were happy to see you as often as we need to see you. And I think it's a welcome change to see somebody who has a vested interest to build the city in addition to us. So thank you. I appreciate the time.
Thank you. I wanted to thank everyone for coming. And I wanted to thank the city staff and especially Courtney for putting together that tax and millage information. It's appreciated. I want to jump on board and thank Brian and folks out at River St. Joe for stepping into the city. And that building it's going to be such a statement to see that building open again. So thank you to Elaine, who's hiding back there, and to Brian. And also to Rhett for your investments in the city. It's appreciated, and it's good to see all this finally taking root. So really happy to see that stuff. I wanted to, just a couple public service announcements. I wanted to remind the public that nominating petitions are available at the city clerk's office for this fall's election. The deadline is April 19th to get those back to the city clerk. There are 3 seats that are going to be open in this election, so if you want the thrilling and glamorous job of city commissioner, please see the city clerk and get your petitions before you leave tonight. She's also looking, I wanted to mention, she's also looking for election workers, which is very important, and if you want to be a part of your community, it's a great way to do it. Democracy is not a spectator sport, and we all need to participate. So I know there's kind of an unwritten rule that we're supposed to only talk about local Buchanan events, and I hope that the commission will allow me to step over that for 2 seconds and just not make a political statement, but regarding the events in Europe, just to remember how good we've got it. And with that, I would take a motion to adjourn.
Sean will make said motion.
Thank you. Is there support? The roll call, please.
Money,
Yes.
Swem,
Yes.
Dennison,
Yes.
Whedon,
Yes.
Downer.
Yes.
You're adjourned.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.
When's a good time for you to get together on that stuff?
You want to meet at the Legion? I mean,
Yeah.
Are you ready for the next one?
when's a good time for you? I mean, honestly, I don't think. You know what? Thursday.